Welcome to episode 5 of NIL Active. Today, I am pleased to welcome Angelica McDonald and Alex Evans. They are the co-founders of RiseHBCU. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Can't complain. It's Friday.
That's right. That's right. It is Friday. We're shooting this on a Friday. So I know both of you guys are attorneys, and you're both been active in the NIL space. But give the folks a little background as to how you guys arrived at working in that space.
Alex, you can go first.
Sure. So in the beginning, I guess the genesis, as others have stated, we, Angelica and I, we went to law school together, and we always talk about sports. That's been one of the things that we talk about pretty often. And then as NIL started coming up in North Carolina in particular, Governor Cooper had an executive order stating that NIL could be a way to address inequities for people of color as well as gender disparities. And when we saw that particular language in the statute, we just started thinking about it a little bit differently with all of the different HBCUs in North Carolina. We kind of felt like this could be a way that we kind of find our way into the space. We also both were involved with some mentoring and summer camps while at law school as well. So we felt like it was a really great synergy just to find a way to have a collective and get involved with student athletes.
Okay. And what about you, Angelica?
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to work in sports since I can remember. I'm an athlete. Alex is an athlete, so it made sense. Like, I've always known that I wanted to protect the rights of athletes. So, like, I'm an attorney. I have my own law firm, and some of my clients are athletes. So, it just made sense. And I've always wanted to work with athletes early on, but of course, there's rules of us being able to have contact with athletes, especially while they're still amateurs. So NIL felt like the opening of being able to work with them, but also guide them and mentor them, and just share knowledge that I have and that Alex has. It made a lot of sense to get started with college athletes, because I mean, now, I don't like to call them, they're adults, but they're still kids in my eyes.
Right.
So I know that as we were following in and seeing the different things that athletes were saying and people were saying about them needing guidance, the legal implications behind them entering into these deals, and they might not have legal representation. It made so much sense. And of course, we're HBCU grads, so we always have a special place in our heart for HBCUs and just Black people in general, and minorities, of like helping those disadvantaged populations in areas that they may not have access to certain resources. So that's really how like a lot of this got started, of us just trying to figure out how we can help and be a solution to an existing problem that exists within sports, but definitely outside of sports.
Right. I think with NIL, a lot of people assumed when the concept of NIL was being floated that it would automatically gear towards like the Ohio State footballs and the Duke basketballs, the Kentucky basketballs, Alabama football. But what we've seen is that across the board, there's been a disparity in opportunities between um, a variety of opportunities available to athletes throughout Division One, and I personally think that HBCUs are poised to take advantage of NIL on a very unique basis. What do you guys think about that?
I definitely think that's true. And honestly, well, even when it comes to like the HBCU experience, is very, very different than the experience of a PWI. And I graduated undergrad from PWI, so like I see the differences. Even though my school had a pretty substantial African American or minority population, given that it's actually a PWI, but it's just a different experience at a HBCU. And the Black experience is one that a lot of times is appropriated, and people, it's in it could be in certain ways, but it's so true to us. It's our everyday lives. I always think about like Black Twitter, and people always quote Black Twitter and different things like that, but it's a story behind Black Twitter and the
Hmm.
influence of Black Twitter and everything. So when it comes to HBCUs, we get to lump all of that in our experience, our culture, who we are as a people, and we get to capitalize off of it just as other people have been able to capitalize off of
Right.
it for years.
Right. I think that appropriation point is an important one because not only is it a cultural appropriation, but it also affects us economically, and we've had wealth stripped from us because of that appropriation. It's not just about um, oh, there's people who are wearing braids who shouldn't be, or people are copying our dances or things of that nature. It goes way beyond that, and in fact, there's been studies that I've read that shows that because of the so-called amateur status of college athletics, where we know that, it's amateur only for the people participating. Everyone else is making billions of dollars. The coaches are making some of them are making 8 figures a year. Because of the fact that the amateur status has affected the athletes solely, it's disproportionately affected Black people because of their numbers in the college athletic ranks. And so, um, personally, I like to see NIL do something, or in the evolution of NIL, to ensure that Black people are actually getting their fair share of the NIL opportunities. And in particular, I think that the HBCUs are qualified to do just that and accomplish that goal. Alex, what are your thoughts on that point about the disparity in wealth distribution as that's been resulted from college athletics?
Yeah, I think one of my inspirations just in this whole process is reading the book $40 Million Slave, right? An author really goes deep into the history of the Black athlete, right? And even into the history of um, HBCU sports, right? Um, and when we speak about wealth disparities, um, we can just look at the various communities in which a lot of our HBCUs are located. We particularly like to start. We wanted to start at North Carolina Central. That's where our athletes are currently now. But if you look at the history of just the town of Durham, right? You have what used to be a Black Wall Street, which, like in many other places across the nation, was completely disrupted by placing a highway through the middle of the town. So that actually disrupted um, historically um, the town itself and what the wealth looked like for the community. So with NIL and with other factors, I mean, when you think of gentrification and things of that nature, what we're trying to do is really find innovative ways to bring back some type of wealth, bring back some type of community engagement through the athletes, through sports, um, to address some of these different disparities.
Right, and that's excellent. Do you have anything to add on that, Angelica? I don't want to.
I
I don't
mean,
want to
it, we literally, like, we've because wealth, bridging the wealth gap has definitely been one of the number one things that we were putting on our list before Rise HBCU came about. But
Right.
with conversations, it was like this could very well bridge the wealth gap, and especially like put these athletes on a a certain foundation that when they get out of school, they might be able to go to grad school for free. might get into their career, if they want to be an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, it could strengthen their ability to transition in a way that they haven't had the opportunity to outside of NIL, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we also know that a lot of athletes, their scholarships, some of them don't have full scholarships. Some of them do incur student loan debt.
Right.
So this very well could be, a solution to a problem that many of us, I mean, I know Alice and I, we have student loan debt,
Mm-hmm.
so going into student loan debt, coming out, and maybe being able to have a foundation where they can have less student loan debt or have just some extra money in their pockets. I mean, a lot of kids that's going to college are first generation, especially at HBCUs, and they may come from small towns like myself, or come from impoverished homes, or you know parents may not have high paying jobs, middle class. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like NIL has the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
really help in a lot of ways that I just don't think a lot of people get and understand. I know the conversation is like, oh, these kids can make money now, blah blah blah, but it's just so much deeper than that, and it can go deeper if people really wanted to go deeper into really helping these athletes.
Right. That's right. And the other point that I wanted to discuss with you, particularly about HBCUs. So we all know that the Black community spends its dollar in disproportionate to our relative size to other groups in this country. How do you think that that fact could be leveraged for HBCU students in looking for opportunities?
So I think it goes towards the kind of the overall point in which I was just trying to make, in that uh, if we find ways as a community to support one another, right? Because we say we are the second HBCU NIL collective, and we definitely don't want to be the last.
Right.
So if we can get the actual communities and the businesses within the communities of the HBCUs to contribute and really understand and learn what NIL is, and to engage in it as a community, to where um, student athletes are getting endorsement deals from community businesses, especially we're partial to, or I don't want to say partial to, but particularly interested in Black businesses and minority businesses within those communities, to really, again, uplift it as a community project. Because we're really looking at this as a potential for a really a grassroots movement, for everyone to get involved, to contribute not just to the student athletes, but again to the community as a whole.
And I think that community aspect is important. Obviously, for HBCUs, there is a HBCU community. It's very strong and rooted in years of supporting the HBCU system, and that's well documented. Um, but let's segue into Rise HBCU as an organization, as a collective. You two, as co-founders, are building a new community for HBCU students through NIL. What is that looking like so far?
Well, I think that it is honestly like it's the idea and people understanding. I think, first of all, people really have to understand what NIL is, right? Before they
Right,
buy into it.
right,
So I feel like we've been doing a lot of nurturing, trying to nurture people and really help them like connect the dots with real world examples. So a lot of times the example we give is like, now athletes can do endorsement deals just as like professional athletes can, and they connect with that. So
mhm,
helping them like put the puzzle pieces together as far as what NIL is and how it connects to college athletics, then also helping them understand that we need them, we need the community to support us. Like, this is not an effort on just our own, that our community has the ability to help us be successful with providing these opportunities for these student athletes. But of course we have other aspects to our collective that is just not about like NIL opportunities, but we're
Okay.
also providing like educational workshops and career and professional development. So, we talk about like mental health and, resume writing and different things like that. So we're really trying to prepare our athletes, basically for adulthood, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, and our community definitely can support us in that way, whether, because Alex and I don't know everything and we don't claim to know everything. So, bringing people in to speak on subjects that they are experts in or have lots of experience in and share their perspective with our student athletes. So it's really been like a community thing, and people have been like hitting us up and, jumping in our DMs, and we get lots of emails. We have quite a few meetings a week. So it's been
That's
a
great.
balancing act. But I think slowly but surely, when people start to really see, like, okay, they're doing this kind of deal, they're doing this, they're doing that, then I think they'll really start to connect with it. Because of course, like, there's businesses that come and go, but we want to be able to show people that like we're here to stay, and we're here to not only stay but build foundation and grow, and to know like this is not about us, but this is about the community. This is about our community.
Right.
And another piece, I mean, we're attorneys here. Like we
Mhm.
get transactional, right? There are a lot of people who can engage in transactional endeavors, but for us, like we're way more interested in transformational relationship building.
Mhm.
Um, Whether it's our athletes or we have an intern, I mean, we really take the time and we're really taking the time to do relationship building. Um, and again, you said the fostering, the networking piece. Um, One of our athletes is interested in going to grad school, and we started talking about the grad school process. And said, "Oh, I have this person who is in the exact same field," and they were like, "Oh my God, like I've been looking for someone." So I mean, it's little things like that in which we're really trying to connect those dots. Um, for this network in which we are creating with Rise HBCU.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
And go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I like to see us as like coming to disrupt, like with what we're trying to do. We're really kind of disrupting the status quo,
Mhm.
and we're really forcing people to understand. Well, not even understand, but to at least look. They don't have to understand, but they can see. These are the disparities. This is what we're doing. This is what we're about. This is what we're promoting, and we're okay with like being considered being disruptors and change agents, because we know that the more we continue to amplify the voice of HBCU athletes, the better off everybody is. Because, like you said, we've been like people have been, profiting off of us for years, and now it's like we get a chance to take back that power. So I like to see us as being like change agents. Like, we're disruptors, and we're really wanting to change the environment and just
Mhm.
change the atmosphere when it comes to college sports.
That's right. And I think it's fine to think of yourself as that, because that is what you are. I mean, as Alex mentioned, you're on the second NIL collective that is dedicated to an HBCU or HBCU development, and that's excellent in and of itself. Um, I think, Alex, I wanted to go back to your point about transformational versus transactional, and just kind of explain a little bit more about what you are referring to there and what the difference is for people that may not understand the point, and how one is. Well, I'll let you explain. I'll let you explain what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, uh, at the end of the day, a lot of people they're gonna point to money being the core, right, or some type of capital being being the core. Um, but I mean, what happens after that deal is made, right? Um, what happens when a student comes to you and they say, "Hey, someone contacted me about making a deal, and I don't know what to do." Uh,
Mhm.
is it a type of situation where you say, "Hey, tell them to talk to me, and I'll work it out for you"? No, it's we recognize that that's a deal that you've made for yourself. We want to build in you, and to help you become confident enough to get this deal for yourself, right? And in this process, and what we're doing is we're trying to build, we're building trust, right? And we're building a relationship to where that athlete uh, will want to continue to be engaged with us long term. Um,
Mhm.
our I'll go ahead and put it out there. Our intern has interest in uh, being in professional sports one day. So we have to put ourselves in a position where we are cultivating that relationship and networking ourselves to help her get to that point to where when her time is up uh, working with us, that she stays in contact with us.
Mhm.
Because we want it like again, I hate to use the same word, but we want to really transform lives, right? To be someone that they feel as though they can have conversations with because um, even I know I keep referring to our intern like in some ways we have more in common uh, with her as someone who is in law school, so we can even unpack some different things that she's going through um, that is even similar to what uh, the athletes are going through, so then we all come together and then we all have a conversation about things that we're all going through
Mhm.
that help us in this process of engaging in what we're doing as a collective endeavor because it's new to all of us. So the bonding that we're going through um, is something that I find to be the most exciting part of this entire process. And I think once we continue to build and get our membership to see that connection that we're growing, it'll be something very special.
Yeah. So what I love about that, what you guys are doing, is that it's not just a nothing is one off. It's as a collective, it is a community, and the influence that you two are sharing, and you're scaling it so that it's not just you're not just helping one person at a time, but you're building relationships, broader relationships, and also empowering students to be able to do for themselves and do for others. And that I think is a really remarkable thing that again, NIL has allowed student athletes to do. I'm really big on the empowerment part of this whole piece because at the end of the day, the right for student athletes to monetize their name, image, and likeness. Again, NIL stands for something. It's a real thing. Name, image, and likeness. These are intellectual property rights that we all have. That student athletes just for years weren't able to monetize them. They'd been stripped from them. Even high school students who were had any thought or any ambition of playing college sports couldn't monetize their name, image, and likeness because they were worried about jeopardizing their amateur status. Even though the name, image, and likeness aspect of it had nothing to do with the actual sport they were playing. So it never made sense to me. But so now those rights are back; they've been restored to these student athletes, and it's an empowering um, concept. It's an empowering concept, and the execution so far, I've also seen a lot of empowerment. I've seen gentlemen such as Ray Karan Smith. I've seen others who are just being aggressive out there in, sourcing their own deals and executing their own deals. And I think that piece of it, that empowerment piece, is something that's truly remarkable for student athletes. And I'm wondering, um, for Rise HBCU, is there any kind of messaging that the collective has for their student athletes to, as you say, Angelica, take them from transition into their career going forward?
Um, I feel like as far as messaging is concerned, well, first of all, if you go to our website, people are very clear about who we want to help. But I also think it shows that we like we said, like we're really trying to bring in the community, but then also we have this thing on our website where it's called you can it's called career connections. And say for instance somebody comes on our website and we may not know them, we may not be associated with them, they may not be alumni of our institution, but they may have a connection as far as like career is concerned or internship, and by the way, you can go to our website. It's
Mhm.
risehbcu.com.
Good. Get that plug in there. I was gonna ask. Get it in now.
And that's our handle. All our social medias. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. So follow us definitely. But you can visit the website, and if you go to partner with us, you can see where like there's a form, and you can literally click and say, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And we're really happy about connecting, like especially when people start to get to know our athletes. We have not they're on our website, but we haven't done a full release of our athletes and really highlighting who they are. But one thing we want to do is help people learn more about our athletes, because the more people learn about our athletes, they're going to realize, okay, one, they're people, but they're students as well. And I don't know who doesn't like a student, like who's a sucker for a student. I remember when I used to email people when I was in, undergrad and law school, and a lot of times I got things because I was a student, right?
Mhm.
Everybody kind of has a soft spot for students, but once they
Sure.
learn more about our students, and they'll get dialed in, and once they find out about the career efforts and things like that, what they're interested in, they're going to reach out and they're going to want to partner with them, because again, as they learn more about them, they become more invested in them.
Right.
So that's a huge part of who we are. We want people to learn about us so they become invested in us, and we want them to become invested in our kids, because that, again, community, bringing people together, learning more about everybody, and honestly, like being a part of our membership, we wanted people to be able to connect with one another. So not only can they connect with the athletes, but they can connect with one another. And it's like we're bringing people together to network, because you just never know. Like people, it's all kinds of groups like on Facebook of people that have commonality. But
Mhm.
we wanted to be able to offer that as well, where people that are part of our community can network together as well, not only with our athletes but together.
Um, the the idea. Well, actually, let's step back. Where are the athletes that you mentioned? What school do they attend?
Right now, they go ahead, Alex.
Uh, at North Carolina Central University for right now. Yeah, that's
Okay,
a
North Carolina Central. Okay. Can students who go to other HBCUs reach out to Rise HBCU now, or is that something that you guys are going to develop in the future?
Alex.
Go ahead, Angelica. No, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually have had people reach out to us. So um definitely they can reach out to us, and we'll follow up with them and just learn more about them, so that when we're in a position to really start to branch out, because that is a goal. We don't want to just we wanted to, the big part of what we really wanted to do in the beginning was focus on home, really develop that
Hmm.
foundation, especially as a new collective, because
Hmm.
it's a lot to manage and there's a lot going on. And we really want to build a foundation, not only with our student athletes, but within the community and with the general public as well. It's just like building a brand. You got to take
Right.
your time to build a brand and really establish yourself. So,
Sure.
because if we branch out, we want to be able to have that foundation and that backing, and really that notoriety and that leverage to be able to get opportunities for other student athletes or other HBCUs, right? But we want to make sure that we're in a good place before we branch out. We don't want to bite off too much and take on
Sure.
too much. But it definitely is the goal to branch out, because honestly, our goal was always to help HBCU athletes in general.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can. It's smart to um, focus on one aspect of it, one school. You don't want to get stretched too thin, because it is, as you say, it is a lot. I mean, there's many. I'm sure you guys are juggling a lot of athletes, and the fact that you're trying to impact on different levels, not just, as you say, the old transactional level, but also the mental health, the education, the other types of things, but where you can career development. Those pieces of it are challenging to juggle all those things. So it's smart to just focus on the one. So you've already given the contact information, how people can reach you. Um, just some last thoughts from each of you before we wrap it up. Alex.
Man, I mean, first of all, again, we're like so honored to be here and share with you. I appreciate the opportunity. Um, but I guess my last words would be I just, I want to take this opportunity to shout out our athletes,
All
um,
right. Good.
because without them, we really wouldn't have anything to be working on. They are extremely, extremely amazing people, and I can't wait for you all to meet them. So I won't say too much, but I do want to shout out our athletes, and I can't wait for you all to meet them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that um, reveal when you guys let them be known to the public.
For me, I guess my last words is to follow us, visit our website, join our membership. Oh, we
Right.
actually have a goal. We're trying to get at least 100 people to give at least $100. At least in our goal is to do that by the end of the year. So, um, we calling it our founding 100. So, if you are interested in becoming a member of a founding 100, you can go to our website, can contribute, and yeah, like just understand that like any support that you provide is really a support for our athletes. It has nothing to do with Alex and I. We don't get at this point we don't get paid to do anything. We
Hmm.
put out of our own funds up,
Hmm.
but it's really like it shows our dedication
Right.
to our community and our dedication to our kids and really wanting to make an impact because we know that if we don't do it, other people may not step up to do that. So it's like we don't
Right.
want to sit by and wait and have this passion and this thing in our hearts that we really want to do, but we just, sometimes, you God gives you special things that you want to that he feels like you have the ability to do, and I feel like
Hmm.
Rise HBCU is one of those things that Alex and I have been commissioned to set out to do. So I'm
That's
really
dope.
excited for people to learn more about us and just follow us and support us for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. I really applaud what the two of you are doing, in your contributions to HBCUs, your contributions to the NIL community, and I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
All right, that's it for episode 5 of NIL Active. Keep watching, keep looking out for our next episode. They'll be coming soon.